Hello and welcome to New India Abroad. Joining us today is Dr. Ishan Shivanand, an Indian origin yogic scholar, mental health researcher, and the founder of Yoga of Immortals and Compassion Unites. Born into a 21 generation yogic lineage, Dr. Shivanand has dedicated his work to bringing teachings of yoga, meditation, and breathwork to a global audience while advancing research into their impact on the mental well-being. Dr. Shivanand recently received a gold award at the 2026 Nautilus Book Awards for his book The Practice of Immortality, adding to a growing list of international recognition for his work. Dr. Shivanand, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Yeah. So to begin with, I would like to discuss more about your lineage, the 21 generation yoga lineage. What does that heritage mean to you today?
It means responsibility. So when we say it's a old lineage, let me start at the beginning. So the beginning, the legend is that Mahadev, you may know him as Lord Shiva, he saw a lot of suffering, and that now we are going into the legend. He saw suffering in humanity and he wanted to alleviate this suffering. So he came down on this planet to help. But when mankind saw God in all its glory, they just started to worship God. And worship is not equal to learning or growing or evolving. So Mahadev realized that this is not good. So Mahadev became the god of knowledge, Bhagwan Dakshinamurti. And he came as the first guide, the first teacher, as Dakshinamurti. And from within him came the first student, Dattatreya. So Shiva as the teacher and Shiva as the student. And then the world witnessed how Shiva as the teacher gave science, mathematics, knowledge of the body, biology, ethics to Bhagwan Dattatreya. And then Bhagwan Dattatreya, Shiva as the first student, then passed it on to the Rishi Parampara. Rishi Parampara means the chosen ones. And from there, that knowledge continues in an unbroken line. And the whole objective is to preserve this knowledge, the essence of this knowledge, the power of this knowledge, because knowledge is not just words. There is an energy associated with it. There is an intention associated with it. And that is past. And that is what the lineage before me has tried to do. And that's why I say it's a responsibility. Because if we are able to maintain the efficacy and the power of this knowledge, only then the next generation can benefit from it. But if we get lazy and we lose this information, then this knowledge is gone forever. And something like this does happen. Many times we have things in the past, in history, which now the modern science doesn't know about. For example, things like Greek fire. It was a weapon used. We have documented proof of it, but now we don't know. The same can be said with the steel. There were various forms of steel that were used that were very strong. Now we don't know those formula. Like even if we talk about the iron pillar in Delhi, Qutub Minar, we still can't recreate that. So there has been a lot of knowledge in history, and generations did get lazy and we lost it. But my legacy is that I want to preserve that knowledge, at least in my lifetime, so the next generation can benefit from it. Yes.
As much as I would want to listen to you talking, I'd like to proceed further. Tell us about your journey from India to becoming a globally recognized yoga and meditation teacher in America.
So, what I like to say is I'm a citizen of the world, but I'm made in India. And India is still home. It has always been. It is my mother. But my job that was assigned to me by my teacher was to serve the Indian diaspora. And when we talk about Indian diaspora, a lot of the times people who want to serve, they always look at the glorious and glamorous places like New York, London, San Francisco. But what we have to realize is the Indian diaspora is quite widely spread. There are destinations like South Africa, Kenya, um, Mauritius, Fiji, Trinidad, Tobago, Suriname, where the diaspora exists, but when it comes to serving them, there are not a lot of resources coming out of India to serve them. So it was my teacher in 2015, my guru, who gave me the job that I have to go to Africa and I have to serve the diaspora there. So there, I was fortunate enough to work with the government, and we started programs for youth and education departments. And it was there where I realized that a lot of work needs to be done on mental health research. Because when we talk about mental health research, then our South Asian diaspora, it's different than the standards that have been made in mental health. And we see this gap, especially when it comes to testing. A lot of the time, the testing parameters, they are based on Caucasian standards, standards that were made in a lab somewhere in the West, and the cultural specifications and considerations have not been taken into account. And what it does is it can easily misdiagnose somebody of South Asian descent. And we saw that happening many times. If we just look at these questionnaires that I use, that are standardized parameters of testing for anxiety, depression, we can, if we go through them and if we run them to a South Asian diaspora, I myself saw that so easily somebody can be mislabeled as having anxiety or depression where they do not, and misdiagnostic needs to mistreatment, and that treatment could be uh, pharmaceutical, and pharmaceutical, if there is no need and that has been given as a treatment, that can have detrimental growth, a detrimental effect on a person's health. So then I realized that specialized research needs to be done on mental health, and specialized research needs to be done on South Asian mental health. So it is from there, from Mauritius, then I really wanted to do this. So I got an opportunity to do it in North America, and around 2019 I picked up those research opportunities, and then I moved and I started my work in the United States then. Yes.
So, do you see an increasing interest in Indians abroad in reconnecting with India's spiritual or wellness tradition? Do you see that Indian Americans or Indian abroad they are taking specific steps to reconnect with their heritage?
I think the whole world is now connecting with the Indian knowledge systems, because the thing with Indian knowledge systems is when it comes to mental health, definitely there is a pharmaceutical approach towards mental health, and the world is recognizing that that approach, the Western therapeutic approach, is a very acute approach towards mental health. But when we are looking at chronic care, when we are looking at rehabilitative care, or even when we are looking at prevention of mental health issues, then we are looking at Indian knowledge systems as a very powerful behavioral modification lifestyle tool that can be inculcated and benefited from. And the world is recognizing it. We see that through the acceptance of yoga, we see that through the acceptance of breath work, we see that through the acceptance of certain terminology that has so easily come into the popular verbiage abroad. Even when it comes to wellness in terms of nutraceutical, you'll find that Joe the Juice and even Starbucks and all now have things with indigenous uh, herbs like turmeric latte, etc. So these are things that a person from Indian diaspora cannot ignore. When there is a culture where your culture is being celebrated, your culture is being appreciated, your culture is being utilized as the solution to the mental health crisis the world is suffering from, then definitely there is going to be acceptance or exploration of your own culture. And I think that has really helped the Indian diaspora, because earlier, um, if you move to a foreign environment in a foreign setting, then many times people may take steps to fit in. And sometimes that fitting in means trying to take a step back from your own culture and try to just go with the flow. But now, everywhere you go, you are seeing this Indian knowledge systems thriving, this indigenous medicines thriving. So I think definitely that has motivated the diaspora to uh, be proud of your own roots and then bring them into your own life. Yes.
Your voice itself is soothing me down. It's so soothing. Okay. What are the misconceptions or most misunderstood things about yoga, and what people should not do when, just about the misconception that people have around yoga?
See, misconception means that there is harm associated with the certain thought process. I don't think there are misconceptions as in it will be harmful, but definitely there is a misunderstanding on the definition of what yoga is worldwide. Yoga has been made into a product, and there is a whole machinery working behind it in the West, especially. And it's not today. We have inherited this problem. It started in the 70s, and the whole world came to India to look for answers, and they took back yoga. And now they have branded it according to their own sensibilities. Plus, you have to understand, as I said, there is this whole machinery that has taken over this word yoga, and there's like millions of dollars associated with it. So let us assume I'm a student in the West who wants to learn yoga. Then I go into this machinery and I spend about $6,000, $7,000 to become a yoga teacher, trainer, or a 200-hour certified yogi. So then I have to get my money's worth. Now, how do you get your money's worth? We are living in an attention economy. So everybody on internet, especially Instagram, we have so many yogis on Instagram wearing Lululemon on the beach, doing poses, trying to get likes. So how do you set yourself apart in this attention economy? And you've already invested $6,000. What you do is you create a special yoga and you name this yoga, you brand this yoga, and it's your yoga. And then you say to the world that my yoga is better than their yoga. And it is funny, hilarious, ironical, and I think there's a lot of hubris behind it because yoga is perfect. Yoga has always been perfect. And I think even these yogis know it is perfect because for 10,000 years, if something has existed, then of course it has to be perfect. And some 21-year-old from San Francisco doesn't need to discover it and then say that I have perfected something that's already perfected. So forget Patanjali's yoga now, come to my yin yoga or this yoga or that yoga because yoga is already perfect and they know it. But again, they have to get their money's worth. But as I said, there is a misunderstanding on the philosophy of yoga. But what they are teaching again are poses inspired from Hatha Yoga. And if you do that, definitely you are going to get physical benefits from it, not the psychological benefits that yoga promises or the spiritual benefits that yoga is all about, but there is no harm in doing physical yoga postures as well. But yes, if it is worth $5,000, you ask me, probably not. But then again, uh, it is the world we live in. So, yes, everything that's happening in the name of yoga definitely is not yoga, but I do believe in some sense it is adding to the quality of life of people. Yes.
Like this face yoga that people are coming up with. Do you think that yoga helps us in spot reduction or weight loss for that matter, to fix your body issues or whatever?
Breathwork probably may help you in weight loss, but yoga is a low intensity exercise. And if your diet is not correct, then no matter how many yoga poses you do, I don't think it will help, because weight loss happens. It's a law of thermodynamics. Weight loss happens when we are having less calories and we are spending more calories, and then over a period of time, weight loss happens. Yes, there are things that we can do to boost our metabolism, and breath work definitely helps with that. Because when you lose weight, most of it you lose it through your breath. That's the science of it. So, breath work can help you. Yoga poses can help you become strong. It can help reduce the risk of injury, so that even when you are trying to do some cardio, your tendons are strong, your bones are strong, and your muscles help you doing those strenuous exercises. Plus, the yoga principles and philosophies do teach you about a good eating healthy habits. So that can help you as well. But if you ask me personally, madam, in my experience, I think spot reduction is a myth. It's a lifestyle, and yoga can help you, provided you do everything else. But if you are only relying on yoga for weight loss, then the whole exercise is a very confusing exercise, because yoga was never intended for weight loss. It's for spirituality, it's for mental health, it's for peace, it's for uh, inner dynamics. It's like using a nuclear bomb for killing a mosquito. Why would you want to do that? If you want to lose weight, there are 28,000 other things you can do. Why you want to do yoga? Yoga is so much more, and I think that's what it can be explored as. And let's not diminish it. It's beautiful. It's powerful. It's fantastic. Yes.
So now let us talk more about your work. You founded Yoga for of Immortals and Compassion Unites. How did you come up with the idea, and what inspired you to bring these teachings uh, forward?
So, madam, yoga of immortals is my research work. When I said we needed to do research, specifically research in mental health, then we needed to use certain terminology that would be beyond theology, that could be non-denominational, that could be utilized in a very broader concept for every single person. And that's why we utilize this terminology, yoga of immortals, and under that umbrella we did all our research work, and we found excellent research. All our focus was on mental health, and here again, when I say yoga, we weren't using the traditional hot yoga physical contortions as a practice of yoga. We were using the ancient breath and meditation based yoga that even Patanjali talks about. Because even if you read the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, you will not find any yoga postures. You will find philosophies. You will find meditations, and that's what we utilized. We really went deep to the most traditional, ancient, powerful practices, that which I said comes from my lineage. And those practices, we had to give it a name, because if we would use the Sanskrit names, it's too difficult for research purposes. So we utilized this blanket terminology, yoga of immortals. And why we said immortal? Because Sanatana Dharma. It's an immortal knowledge that's coming out. It's being passed on from one generation to another. So it is the science of that immortal knowledge is what we call yoga of immortals, which we utilize for research. Now coming to Compassion Unites. When I started to work in mental health, I realized that the problem is exasperating every single year. It is a fight that is almost seemingly unwinnable, because it is a dynamic, ongoing crisis. So, first, social media was a crisis affecting the mental health. Then, COVID became a crisis affecting the mental health. Now, alienation and isolation is affecting the mental health. Now, AI is affecting the mental health. So, it's an ongoing crisis. And if I just say that, oh, I will be a mental health researcher and I'll fight with that crisis alone, then I will not be able to win. And it is irresponsible for society to just rely on one person, on one governmental body to solve the issue. We have to come together. So after years and years of work, I realized that we must unite to combat this mental health crisis, because when the mental health crisis perseveres, all of us are suffering. So Compassion Unites was that I said that different verticals of society must come together. So one vertical would be the doctors, the healthcare workers. Another would be education sector. That must come together, because students are the ones that are suffering the brunt of the mental health crisis. Policymakers, they have to come and help, because if we don't have the correct policies, then anxiety and burnout becomes institutionalized. Then faith leaders must come together, because faith has a very important role to play in providing mental health care to people, especially the ones who do not have enough means. And finally, elected officials. So when all these people come together, I think it is then, and of course, tech. Tech also is a vertical that is very, very important, because a lot of the problems in mental health are happening in tech. And sometimes even tech needs to be accountable for everything that they are doing. So they must also become part of the solution for the mental health crisis. So Compassion Unites was creating this forum where all these industry leaders can come, tech leaders can come, policymakers can come, elected officials can come, healthcare workers can come, education departments can come, faith leaders can come, and all of them can share their problems, their solutions, and robust conversation can be made, strategies can be developed on how we will combat that crisis, because I believe it's like a piece of puzzle, and all of us have a small piece in it, and if we put it all together, we can have that powerful solution. And especially countries like India, where we are not spending a lot of money on mental health research, because our economy is so vast. But if you look at our healthcare budget on mental health, our spending is abysmal. And even countries like US, they are not spending enough, and even what they are spending, nothing is happening. So the work that Compassion Unites are doing, it can help even at the government level, because we are taking all that research, we are taking all that expertise, and we are bringing it to the table and helping guide uh, people at power to direct them towards a future where mental health can be accessible to even the most vulnerable parts of community. And that's what Compassion Unites is doing. We are bringing compassion uh, on the forefront, and we are allowing compassion to lead towards a better tomorrow.
Okay. So now let us talk about the book and the recognition. Congratulations on winning the Gold Award. What does this recognition mean to you, and what inspired you to write your memoir?
I didn't write this book as a memoir, actually. I was writing this book as instruction. Uh, it became a memoir because I think that is the way we Indians like to tell stories. Like if you look Bhagavad Gita, all the powerful philosophies are intertwined in existing story of the Mahabharata. And even if we look at all the wonderful teachings of Ramayana, they are inside a story. Even if you look at Shiv Mahapuran, it's a story. So from distance, if you look, it's just a story of people. But the more deeper you go, the more you will find the essence of Vedas. The knowledge is hidden. I think that's how we Indians express ourselves. We just like a good story. And even if I talk about Kathopanishad, I talk about Kathopanishad, the story of Nachiketa and Yamraj. If I talk about um, Tripura Rahasya, it is the story of Parshuram and the Dattatreya. So I think that is how we express ourselves. So when I needed to give instructions, I need to share about my mental health research. I need to talk about the philosophies of my lineage. I need to talk about all the knowledge. I could have made it a simple instructional manual if I was German, if I was Italian, then I could have just do this, do this, do this, do this. But then it has no flavor. It has no spice. But because I am Indian diaspora, then I utilize my own life as a tool to bring the best teachings in the forefront. And I think that is what people appreciated. They found those stories to be relatable. And in those stories, everyone, according to their level of consciousness, gets something. They get something that inspires them, motivates them. And I think they see a part of themselves in those stories. And it makes it easier for them to then follow the practices. Because if we just read some practices, we have no connection to them. There is no trust. And if there's no trust, there is no efficacy. So we don't do them. But as a person reads the book, as a person starts to get invested in the stories, then they feel as if they and I are friends. So then the practices that I talk about in each chapter, they start to bring it in their lives, they start to follow it, and then they get better results. So the relation becomes deeper. And I think that is what has happened. This book is not a memoir, it is not a book, it is a friend. And everyone who is reading this book, they are feeling as if it is helping them be free from alienation and isolation. And so many times people tell me they've read this book again and again, and it's helped them through some tough parts of their life. And that is what makes me feel extremely grateful that I could do that for some people. And I think in the time to come, that intention remains, and this book will continue to be a friend to everyone who reads it.
And what about the recognition? What does it mean to you? And how was it to share the award with so many inspirational people?
Feels very good. It feels very nice. It's always nice to be acknowledged, and I'm extremely grateful to uh, the kind people at Nautilus for recognizing this work. And as you rightfully said, many esteemed personalities have been given this award. I was reading about it that His Holiness Dalai Lama, I think even Desmond Tutu, some inspirational people have recognized this, has have received this award, uh, and I'm extremely honored. What else can I say? I'm honored to share a podium with such people that I look up to.
So, for people who might feel overwhelmed by modern life or by technologies or so many things that are out there and curious about yoga or meditation, but don't know where to begin with, so what is that you would suggest them?
Take a step. Take a step. Overwhelmed because we have not taken an honest, genuine step. I think if that step can be taken, it can help. And again, it depends upon who that person is taking the step. Sometimes taking a step could be uh, eating the right food, waking up a little bit earlier, going for a walk, forgiving your own loved ones. These are small kindness that you can show yourself. And if you can show yourself these small kindness, then eventually you will reach a point in your life where you can show yourself big kindness. And that big kindness would be picking up this book, Practice of Immortality, and then reading it every single day. You read a page, you follow a practice, is a kindness you are showing yourself. And as that kindness towards the self grows, the sense of being overwhelmed melts away. You're feeling overwhelmed because you're not kind to yourself. There is no compassion, hence the burnout. So, what I would like to say is start from small kindness towards the self. Again, not towards the world. Focus on yourself. How can I be kind to myself today? Maybe give yourself a compliment. Maybe take care of your hygiene. Maybe take care of your loved ones a little bit, and that'll make you feel good. And I think that is a start. So, this is what I will recommend to anyone who feels overwhelmed. Don't just think of the toughest thing because, that's what we do. We think that, okay, I will do lots of yoga. But if we are not ever shown ourselves even small kindness, then we've set ourselves for failure by creating this unattainable goal. Start small. Why start with so much yoga? Start with maybe today I'll take a little walk. These small victories will lead you to a big victory. And that's why even I'm saying, don't read the whole book, chapter to chapter, page by page. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself today. Be as kind to yourself as you can. And there'll be no need of being overwhelmed, is what I say. Yes.
Thank you so much for it. It was so nice to hear such inspirational words, and listening to you alone made me get relief of all the stress that I had today. So thank you so much for joining us today. And since Yoga Day is around the corner, thank you so much for your inspirational words and your insightful words on yoga. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and my regards to all your listeners.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.